Welcome back to Bravo Breaking News with Kim and Lisa.
On this week's Vanderpump Rules, the gang heads to San Francisco, and to no one's surprise, Sandoval and Sheena seem like they're besties again.
We've also got Ariana's new man, Dan, entering the chat. But is he there for the right reasons?
We have much to discuss, and we will dive into everything. But before we do, make sure you are subscribed so you don't miss any Bravo breaking news.
Okay, so before we start off, I just want to say I have a bit of a bone to pick with Vanderpump Rules production. And that is because the See You Next Tuesday that I attended ended up on the cutting room floor. That is not going to be featured. And I was waiting to see if we were going to get a small scene this week about it, but nope, it is nowhere to be found.
Say it ain't so. How could they?
I know. I'm so upset. I just had to share my feelings because, you know, we support female emotion here. So I'm upset. I'm distraught. And I just wanted to share that with the world.
Of course, feel your feelings, Kim. Oh, man, that is very disappointing. Justice for See You Next Tuesday footage. We demand the footage.
I know. Maybe there will be, maybe secrets revealed. Maybe I'll show up on there, but we'll see. So we picked up this episode at Something About Her. There has been a lot of talk about Something About Her in the past few days. And I think you saw, but I did do a video about kind of what was going on. And it all has to go back to Chef Penny. So there are definitely some issues with Chef Penny. Apparently, she has not been seeing eye to eye with Ariana and Katie. She wants to be a partner. They want to give her a salary. So there are all these issues. I guess she owns the trademark, which could potentially be the reason why it's been, you know, drawn out for so long. But a bright side of this is that, well, during this scene, is that Anne seems to be working for Something About Her now, which is exciting. But then, I don't know if you saw Watch What Happens Live, it's kind of a question mark whether she's still working there or not.
Okay, yeah, I felt like it was kind of just a production thing. It felt very staged to me. They just had her standing behind the counter as if she was waiting for customers to walk in, but like they're not open. So she's just standing there waiting for Katie and Ariana like, hi, welcome to Something About Her. It just, it felt very staged. So I don't know. I feel like maybe they were kind of just trying to throw Anne a bone here. But I think it's clear that, you know, Ariana supports her and wants to kind of do right by her. But I don't know. We'll see how it pans out. But Lisa seemed very pro Penny. I guess she has a relationship with Penny, which I didn't realize, but makes sense. And she kind of says, well, she still really wants to be involved, and the girls just aren't sure. So yeah, there's definitely tension there. But on Watch What Happens Live, we did get a date, you guys. We got an opening date that they announced to the world. And that date is May 22nd. So 3 weeks from now, we're going to be getting Something About Her, IRL, those sandwiches, on our plates. And I can't wait. I mean, Kim, we walked by it last week and it still looked like there was quite a bit of work to be done. So, you know, I hope they can pull it off.
I was just going to say that, yep, Lisa was in town. We were in West Hollywood. We had to go check on Something About Her. Still no patio, still no signage. There were some like random chairs outside. You know, maybe they were doing like a little test run or a little, you know, interior or exterior design for the patio or whatever. But, you know, if they get a sign up and get a few tables outside, I think they could be ready to open. So I will be there. Lisa, will you be booking a plane ticket to join me?
Absolutely. If not on May 22nd, then shortly thereafter.
Yes. So I'm so excited. I'm ready. I'm ready to support these girls. I mean, as we hear later in the episode, they are the new Tom Tom, and I can't disagree with that. So I'm ready. I'm ready for some sandwiches.
Yeah, and ready for another stop to be added to like the Bravo Pump Rules tour in West Hollywood. Now, another spot that I feel like has been popping up a lot is Kyle Chan's store. Now, I need to know where this store is. Like, does anyone have eyes? I know I could Google, but like, tell me.
I do know. It's on 3rd Street. It's on 3rd Street, like right near the Beverly Center. I actually walked by it a couple weekends ago. I stumbled upon it. It was closed. I didn't go in, but like I almost like had to take a double take. I'm like, oh, Kyle Chan, like, you know, he's not really on my good side right now just because he's so into Tom. But yeah, 3rd Street.
Yeah, but like his store is popping up a lot. They filmed Sheena's music video there last year. They're here again, preparing for his launch party, which I still don't really understand what this event is in San Francisco. Like, is he opening another store? Is he launching a new collection? I don't know, but I guess it doesn't matter because Sheena's performing and Tom is now like the stage manager. I don't know. But they come together. Obviously, the last time they were together, they were screaming at each other. Tom threw it in Sheena's face that she had one time been the other woman in a relationship. And, you know, I thought that was really unfair of him to throw that back at her. Like, that was, 15 years ago. You're in your early 20s. You just don't see life the same way as you do when you're in your 30s. And, so she was pretty taken aback by that, but also seemed to forgive him very quickly when he apologized. And it just kind of seems like she's always quick to forgive him.
I completely agree. Way too quick. It was too easy. He's like, I'm sorry. She's like, oh, it's okay. I miss you. I miss our friendship. It's like, Sheena, like, he's gonna continue, as Ariana says, like, to throw things in your face. That's not gonna end. That's just who he is. And I don't know how many times it's gonna have to happen for Sheena to realize that. But no, this was so forced. I mean, they brought Sandoval in to manage her performance, which is totally ridiculous. Yeah, I don't know. And I guess Kyle Chan's party is for the launch of a Gold Bar whiskey that he's collaborating with. I don't know what whiskey has to do with jewelry or why we're celebrating Kyle Chan to this extent. Can we come up with like another finale party for anything, anybody but this? So I don't know. It was just weird, but we are seeing him pop up quite a bit, and I guess we're going to see more next week. But we also got Lala's birthday party, which was kind of interesting. Not a lot happened. We had some like half naked or mostly naked burlesque dancers. Brock doesn't know how to look at them. It was very awkward, but probably the most awkward thing about the party was Lala calling out Sheena for talking to Sandoval. She's like, when I FaceTimed Sandoval, you were there, and what did you guys talk about? And Sheena's like, well, we made up basically, da-da-da-da-da. And Ariana's like, excuse me? Like, she's like, he apologized. I said I miss him. I think we can be friends. And then Ariana's face, her and Katie's facial expressions, like, are just so genuine. Like, I just love them. They are me, and they are exactly how I would feel in that moment too. Because, oh, Sheena. I mean, it's just, I don't know why she's trying so hard to be friends with Sandoval.
Okay, first of all, you're right. Ariana's facial expression was hilarious. I literally LOL'd. But I think that Sheena is trying to save the show. I think that she knows that if this continues, this huge divide, and they can't film together, and it's just like driving a wedge between everyone and no one knows what to do. I think she knows that the show is going to be over. And she's always done whatever it takes to keep things moving along, right? And I don't think this is an exception. I think she is trying really hard. And we saw at the end of the episode when her and Sandoval have a heart-to-heart, she basically told him, you need to apologize for weaponizing Ariana's mental health, like, against her and making it seem like she was to blame for you not doing the right thing. And like, she literally has to spell it out for him. You need to do this in order to move, if any of us want to keep this paycheck. That's sort of how I'm reading it. I don't think she really cares that much if they're friends or not, but I think she knows that there's she's working for the greater good here.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot at stake. I guess, the show is kind of being put on pause, at least production for the summer. They're going to pick up later this year because, let's be real, we need new storylines. And,
yeah,
if Sheena is going to try to make that work and have them make amends, I salute her. I did like at the end of the episode when she was holding Sandoval accountable and, not just babying him. But at the end of the day, I don't think Ariana's going to budge.
No. And I thought it was really interesting, her conversation. I know we're kind of jumping around a bit. Her conversation with Brock after the boat ride in San Francisco, where he kind of was like, do you see a future where maybe you can like sort of forgive him? And she was like, I don't need to forgive him. Like this whole, thing that we're taught about, oh, forgiveness is the way to go and everything. She's like, I think that's bullshit. I shouldn't have to forgive someone who traumatized me, and I can just be like, cut you out and that's it. And I thought that was a really interesting take on it. And you know what? She's not wrong. Like sometimes people do things where you don't forgive, and like you can't forgive that, and you're going to move on, but like doesn't mean you have to forgive them.
I totally agree. I mean, when she said there's power in hurt and anger and female emotion, and not always having to take the high road or pretend like you're being strong, like just feel your feelings and be true to that. Don't pretend to be something that you're not. I mean, I know maybe sometimes it's good to like put on, a strong front in situations, but it's also okay to just like be real and raw and feel your emotions. And I thought that scene was just so empowering to a lot of women, that they don't have to hide behind this like fake facade when they're actually not feeling that way at all. It's okay to feel the way you feel.
Yeah. And again, this is months after, she found out about everything. Sometimes forgiveness takes years. Like she is still fresh in this, and she has every like right to feel like, no, I'm still in my hurt phase. I'm still in my angry phase. I don't know. I think she's onto something here. But let's move on to happier things. So we finally get Ariana and Dan together on a date, and he has come to visit her in LA. And this is really the first time we're seeing Dan on camera that's not, through the phone. And I'm curious to get your thoughts. What did you think of their chemistry? What did you think of their conversation?
I mean, he seems like a nice, normal guy, honestly. I mean, I'm not like to Lala's extent, but it is a little sus how quickly they got together. But they're still together. I mean, it's been over a year now. And Ariana clarified, they didn't get together that quickly. They met very quickly after the whole affair came out. And then it was kind of slow moving. But I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Okay, you're giving me some suspicious eyes.
Well, because they were spotted at Coachella together, like maybe a couple weeks after they met, and they were very much like looking like a couple. So maybe it wasn't 10 days, but it was.
They were holding. I remember that photo. They were holding hands, and like that set the internet ablaze, because I guess they met at that wedding. That was maybe like a week or two after Scandival broke. And then, yeah, you're right. Coachella was less than a couple weeks later, and they were like holding hands. So it was pretty quick.
Yeah. I mean, he seems, I feel like he's kind of safe for her because he's long distance, right? I think in her mind, it's like, okay, I'm moving on. I am getting to know this person, but sort of at a distance by design. I think if she was just to kind of jump into something with someone who lived in the same city as her, they would always be together. I think that might be like too much for her. So I think in this moment, he was exactly what she needed. But yeah, I still do think it was pretty quick. I don't know that he has like ulterior motives. I mean, I always hope not, but I guess you never know.
Lala definitely seems to think so, because in the confessional, she said, someone who just left her man of 10 years and still lives with him, like, how could Dan be like, yep, that's the one? Mm-hmm. But Ariana's a catch. Let's be real. I feel like Lala is just reaching for anything bad that she can say about Ariana at this point. I feel like, yes, Ariana went through a very traumatic experience and is still going through it, and probably is bringing a lot of baggage to the relationship, honestly. But I don't feel like it's like a red flag because she's gotten out of a relationship. You know what I mean? I just feel like Lala's like spinning it the wrong way. But I do hope that Dan has true intentions, because we will come for him if he doesn't.
Yeah. I mean, he better know that. Like, he'll have the wrath of the world after him. Okay, so should we talk about Tom's show and, more importantly, Tom's mom?
Oh my God, I cannot get over this. So we have the Most Extras show at the El Rey. James wasn't supposed to open, but he did show up. So props to James. I don't know. I thought that was, taking the high road. But we get him performing, and his mom, I mean, her face.
What emotion was that? Like, I could not identify that emotion. Was it awe? Was it like, was she shocked? Was she terrified? Was she mortified? Like, I couldn't tell. Was it pride? I had no idea what this emotion was.
I think it is the facial expression that you make when you come to realize that your son has no talent. Standing there, and I don't think she's ever been to one of his shows, it seems like. I think this is the first time. She knows the cameras are pointing right at her, and she's trying not to look like embarrassed, but so she just has this like aghast look. Her jaw is dropped, but she's kind of smiling. It's it's not good. I think she's realizing that, maybe get a day job.
All right. And then show. Gosh, I always combine names. Schwartz and Joe, we get them together. They go outside to talk. They're already taking Tom's name off the marquee mid-show, which I thought was hilarious. And they are, together for the first time, presumably, since they had their sort of breakup talk. And I just can't help but think, like, they're two weirdos who are kind of perfect for each other. They're both immediately like, oh, hi, how are you? I am Robot. This is awkward. And it's like, I don't know, just get over it and date. Like, what's the big deal? And he is still sending mixed signals. He's like, I want to be very clear that, we're friends. This is my friend Joe. She's hot. And I'm going to marry her in 8 years. Like, that's not clear. That is you saying you're in love with her. You think she's hot, but you're not ready to commit yet. Like, it's just, I don't know, Schwartz. Like, pick a lane.
I am starting to feel for Joe. I mean, I started to feel for her a few weeks ago during that awful sit down on the couch at Schwartz's, but he still continues to send mixed signals. But I don't know. I'm interested to see, she shows up at the reunion. I don't know what's going to go down. Are her and Schwartz going to go head to head? I know the girls are going to come at her because we see her on next week's episode. Her and Katie get into it. I don't know. I mean, I honestly think they're perfect for each other. Like, it's like they have chemistry. It's awkward, but Schwartz is an awkward human. So he needs somebody to kind of like, match that awkwardness and that vibe. And I think Joe does. So I don't know. Maybe they'll end up together, but I don't know. It's just so awkward. So let's get to San Francisco, though, because a lot goes down. Even we're only on night one. Everybody comes to San Francisco. Joe's coming the following day, so she's not quite there yet. But we basically get the boat ride from hell part 2. It's like Cartagena all over again.
Oh my God. Cartagena flashbacks.
They should have edited that in like side by side because it was so funny, the reactions. I just love it. I mean, not much else happened on the boat, but it was just funny to see them all in turmoil and learn that Ariana's biggest phobia is waves.
Waves?
Explain that to me, please.
I don't know. Maybe tsunami I could get behind, but waves, scarier than sharks? No, I don't understand that. But, they made it back safe and sound. They have this Roaring 20s party that, Brock is hosting. I thought everyone's outfit was pretty good. And then James, they call out, looks like a little paperboy shilling. Extra, read all about it. And it was so spot on. And James is usually like impeccably dressed. So I feel like it was a little bit out of character for him. Katie is, Katie's putting out some vibes that Schwartz is into because he approaches her and basically pitches, let's have a one-night stand. Let's hook up tonight. Let's, for old time's sake, let's order a bunch of junk food and scroll on Instagram and not talk to each other, just like we always used to do. And I know she covered her face and immediately said no, but there was a little smile there. I think deep down, she thought maybe this isn't one of his worst ideas.
Yeah, I don't know. On Watch What Happens Live, she was like, I probably wouldn't do it. But again, she did hesitate a little bit. So I don't know. I really love seeing them in a good place. And it's almost like, is this maybe going to be Ariana and Tom in the next year or 2 or 3? I don't know. The situations are completely different. But I do love Tom and Katie as friends. I almost think that's like what bonded them together in the first place was this quirky kind of friendship that they have. And they kind of balance each other out. Tom is kind of like, innocent and, kind of almost like childish. And Katie's definitely a little bit more, mature and is kind of more the voice of reason. So I don't know. I loved that. But my favorite part about that scene was Ariana and Katie were standing there and Tom comes over and is like, I love this duo. And they're like, yeah, we're kind of like the new Tom. And I mean, I couldn't have said it better myself. They are the new Tom. Something about her is going to be the new Tom. Like, move over Schwartz and Sandy's, everything else. Like, I think that Katie and Ariana are the standout duo of the season. And if you are not on their side, you're on the wrong side, if you ask me.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely the standout. And they're already thinking franchise opportunities because they talked about Penny's contract and how she would get 10% of profits from that location, which to me tells me they're already thinking of expansions and franchising. And, maybe they will be sandwich magnates one day. Like, I hope so, because they've been through it. Okay, so Tom and Sheena go off and talk. And this is where, we kind of get this dramatic, moment where Sheena's basically telling Tom, look, if you want to fix things, you need to apologize. Like, you need to take accountability for the things that really hurt Ariana. And, I think that she is just, like I said, she's trying to keep the peace so that they can keep their paychecks. And we end with Tom, seemingly understanding. I don't know if he really is, but he gives her a big hug and starts crying. And I'm like, Tom, we don't need to see you crying 3 times an episode. Like, I am all for a man showing his emotions. I never think it's unmanly when men cry, but it feels like he's just forcing it for us. And I'm like, okay, enough. You don't have to cry every time.
Well, I know. And the fact that he was crying about Kyle Chan earlier in the episode in the confessional just means that his tears mean nothing. They're crocodile tears. If you're going to cry over Kyle Chan and also cry over how you treated Ariana, those are not the same thing. I don't know if he was just having an emotional day when he was in that baby blue suit in the confessional chair, but the tears were streaming. But we do kind of see him take some accountability, I guess. He says, I guess me explaining how I felt came across as blaming Ariana and she didn't deserve that. So I don't know. I mean, I think that he's going to try to go talk to her at this finale party next week. And obviously she's not going to have it. She doesn't want to hear from him. She doesn't want to talk to him. And I'm pretty sure we see her storm out as soon as he tries to do that. So I think it's just a lost cause at this point. I don't know. Can you believe that next week is the season finale? We're pretty much done.
Is it really? I thought we had 2 more.
Next week is the season finale.
Oh, wow. Okay. And they've all said that the finale is very different than finales from years prior. So I don't know what they're doing that's different, but we've heard cast members say that. So I'm excited to see what's going on. Maybe it's because they're incorporating so much iPhone footage.
I think they're talking about the finale of the reunion part 3. I think the now is different than anything they've ever done before. What I've heard a theory, and I think it's because on part 3 of the reunion, the whole cast watches the finale together. That is the theory that's going around. They haven't seen it. They've seen every other episode. So they watch it and kind of give their feedback in real time. So I don't know. I guess something crazy is going to happen, but we'll see.
All right. Well, we are wrapping up, but I'm still in. I know this episode didn't give a ton, but I was still eating it up. And then it just feeds so perfectly right into the Valley. I am on a high when I'm watching the Valley. And make sure you guys subscribe. Make sure you're following Bravo Breaking News on Instagram. I am Lisa Not Rinna on Instagram. And thank you for tuning in. We'll see you guys next time.
See you guys next week.